Okay, we're talking about growing up in Montclair in the 1960s to about 1970. We were in Nishawayne School, first grade, second grade, third grade, up to fifth. And, school didn't just end then. You went to church on Sunday. You went to Sunday schools, and then you had to sing in the choir. So your parents pretty much had you in a cocoon where you were exposed to folks that lived in the community with you. They were police officers that went to our church. And by the way, St. Mark's United African Methodist Church is one of the oldest African churches in the entire country. So they had a strong foundation of lay leaders, educated parishioners that went to the church, and the exposure, the dynamics of you being exposed to that was a big catalyst to pushing you forward. One of the things that was always institutionalized around the church were the women who wore the white uniforms, and I don't know if you're familiar, they wore the white gloves, and they still to this day wear the white gloves. And they were well trained in etiquettes, and they also projected that. So one of the choir leaders at that time was John Johnson and Derwin Johnson. John Johnson just ran for the governor, lives in Montclair. He ran for governor of New Jersey. And his mother was, Bertie Johnson, was the choir director. So growing up in Montclair, no matter what we went on to do, I'm a Muslim now, but those teachings and surroundings that we had were paramount to, establishing us with a strong foundation. What I wanted to tell you also, see them white gloves that I talked about that the ushers wore? That came from a period of time in the country where white folks didn't want to be touched by black folks in the church, so that's why they were required to wear white gloves. Look that up. There's a lot of history that's emerging that connects a lot of dots. But at the same point in time, they look great and fantastic. My mother and my grandmother both were part of Dorothy Heights' National Council of Negro Women. So even at that age, somewhere around 8 or 9 years old, once or twice a year, my grandmother would host a huge tea party at her house. And the ladies, of course, would wear their Easter, well, you can't say Easter outfits because they would dress like that almost every Sunday. But they put their Sunday best on, and folks like Ruby Dee, the actress, her husband, Les Davis, Ozzie Davis, and also Tony Brown from Tony Brown's Journal, all right, would always come for a barbecue session at the Joneses' house, a big family in St. Mark's Church where the Joneses had lived on Forest Street that were very close to my grandfather. And our families would get together, and it would be a huge event to have access to these folks. Now, folks that are listening today, some don't realize how symbolic of having the biggest artists that were in some ways in movies, Porgy and Bess, Stormy Weather. Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee were the Denzel Washingtons and the Oprah Winfreys of that day. And, in Montclair, you had that level of exposure, all right?